Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my review of episode 8 of And Just Like That. My voice might sound a little different. I'm sick. I'm a week post surgery, and it's 3 a.m. and I can't sleep, so let's do this. I watched the episode, and I have to say something. It feels like it feels like they got so many notes while making this season that they don't even know what they're doing anymore. Like every two episodes, it feels like it's almost like a new show. They're introducing new characters. There's only two episodes left. So this is the episode that it didn't break the internet. It bent the neighbor. What am I saying? It's 3 in the morning. It bent the internet because everyone was talking about how Miranda dumped Steve and how awful it was. Now I know there's two sides to every story, but I'm looking at TikTok specifically, mostly women, and it's like 95% are on Steve's side. It's been a very weird thing where how in sitcoms they always have like the villain, which is really just an antagonist of the main character. And I went back and rewatched the first episode of the TV show. And Miranda is just a freaking bitch on wheels from literally her first scene. So much so that like it just feels like it almost, losing Samantha, why don't you just have like a weird thing where it's just she should just be like the enemy to Carrie. Instead they're trying to make her the main character. Carrie has like no storyline at all. Okay, let's talk about this. There's a scene shot right in front of. I used to work right there in the courts, the federal courts there in Lower Manhattan. So I'm seeing this scene. It's like, oh yeah, that's I used to walk there, and there's a really bad coffee shop here, and that's always something neat of having lived in New York City. You get to see, oh, that's my old apartment. That's where I used to work. That's my subway stop. Che is at some sort of rally or protest for gay rights. Um, and but it's never defined. And I started thinking, I was like, what rights do gay people in Manhattan not have in 2022? I mean, are they protesting for things that like they're like gay people should be able to fly airplanes without a license? Like what is this? Also, I gotta say, Che is the least funny comedian ever, which is weird because when they've shown her comedy specials or her, doing stand up, she basically just does self help. And then she's at a vaguely, not even vaguely defined, not defined. It's just like, we're gay. I saw someone on TikTok describe this protest as looking like a Christmas tree lighting from a Hallmark movie. I was like, yeah, that's it. It's like they show the crowd and it's so cheesy. So it's this undefined gay rights rally slash protest right in front of all the courts in Lower Manhattan. And the crowd is like cartoonish. It's like over the top masculine lesbians, drag queens, and a couple of like danger hair millennials. Like there's no like just average gay person there, except for Miranda, who really sticks out, and then she hides from her. Man, that's some bad writing. Her son is just randomly walking by this non-protest. The thing about this part of Manhattan is that it's kind of near. It's very near the Brooklyn Bridge. But if you're at the courts, you're only there to go do court stuff. Like they got all of their courts like in one area. So this is not an area that anyone ever like. There's no good restaurants. There's a couple hotels, but they're a couple blocks away. Like this park, the only reason you're there is because you have to go to one of the court buildings or oh, actually, they have you get the marriage licenses there, so that might be a plot point. But I don't think so. That's like a really nudgy thing that you'd have to like know that area really well. It to me it's just bad writing. So she like hides from her son, and then we get this Che is a fuckboy. Everyone realizes that. But Che is like the most moral fuckboy ever. She's like, "You're married?" And she's like, "Yeah. You know that?" She's like, "I assumed you were in an open relationship." It's like, why would you assume that? So she gets like on this real like grandstanding high horse. She's like, "I'm not a homewrecker, but if you go destroy your husband's life and then divorce him, you know, I'll throw I'll throw you some of my free comedy." Oh man, she does like this like improv comedy. Oh, it's so bad. Anyway, so Miranda does dump Steve, and it's just excruciating. Steve is a good guy. Now they do this weird thing where they're commenting on something that they did. Miranda's like, "We're not old. We're 55." Okay, you look like a ghost from the Civil War. Like, you don't just look like a ghost. You look like an old ghost, Miranda. And all of the characters who are in their mid 50s, except for Charlotte, have been portrayed as in their late 70s. So Steve is a little passive, not really asserting himself, and he's not blameless in this loveless, sexless marriage. But man, if you wanted the last Miranda fan on the world to just say, "I can't with this bitch," that's what they did. They're also setting up some really obvious, plotting that she's going to go across the country for her love. And oh my gosh, she's going to walk in and Che's going to be with someone, because Che's never lied about being a fuckboy. Like, that's their personality. So then we got to Carrie, who literally has nothing to do. Although I think I forgot to mention that in the previous episode, they do acknowledge that Carrie is rich. I think Anthony says she owns half of Manhattan right now. But she decided to go back into her apartment, which it got clarified. I always was the understanding that she owned like her floor, but then a previous episode seemed to imply that she owned the building. But no, she just owns her apartment, or maybe just that whole floor. But we meet her downstairs neighbor, who is in her 20s and rich and dating and kind of loud, and she's basically like a young, Carrie, but there's only two more episodes. Like, what's going on? Like, you introduce Seema and you have nothing to do with her. We got a very elaborate lecture about how Carrie smokes now, which is with gloves on and wearing scarves. What the hell? You know that? What? And she has nothing to do except for like just have like, "I've got a noisy neighbor." That's where you're going with this? It feels like they had a bunch of ideas brainstorming at the beginning of the season, and then they're like, "No, let's just deal with Carrie dealing with Big's death." And then they kind of ran through that in like half of a season. They're like, shit. What if she has a noisy neighbor? Which, again, from my last video, it feels like there's no structure or plan to this. It's just whatever is happening to the gals who are the writers. Hey, I've got a noisy neighbor. Okay, just write that in. What do we want to do with that? I don't know. She tells them to quiet down and they don't. That's interesting. Then we got Charlotte, who, again, they weren't doing much with her. All of a sudden, we have a whole episode of this weird passive-aggressive refusal to apologize to her husband. And then we're catching up with one of her daughters. The other daughter's disappeared. It's very strange. Charlotte is coming off as the best character and person. She's the one who is actually married, not quitting on that, trying to deal with things, dealing with new situations in society and with her family and all that type of stuff. They're going back to, sweet and lovable but a little goofy, and not just, basically they wrote her as Miranda. "I refuse to apologize." What is that? Her friend that they were setting up, like, "I want to be in the mommy group and be mommy friends with my friend from college." They forgot about that character entirely. I don't even remember if the professor was in this one at all. Again, it feels like they're doing a soft reboot of this season during the season multiple times. So we've only got two more. For some reason, before I thought this was definitely not going to get renewed, and now I feel like it is. But man, is this a weird show? I gotta say, Seema was a good, not replacement for Samantha, but she fit in quite well with the group. I still can't believe that Sarah Jessica Parker like approved like what's happening to her character. Like she literally has nothing to do. She's just rich in the apartment she's lived in since she was what like 30. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, no plot, no driving motivation, just kind of there. So I'm gonna wait until the show is over to start reviewing Emily in Paris season two. I don't want to cross the streams, but this is a weird one. It's a weird one, and yeah, they are setting up. Well, I don't know. Like, ordinarily you do a storyline where Miranda tries to get Steve back, and he's like, "No, I'm good. We're done." And then she's all, "Oh, why did I do that?" But I don't think they're gonna do that either. I don't know. It's the Miranda show, and I don't think anyone wants that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.